Who were your favorite fighters coming up?
We liked a lot Canelo. Canelo was, and it's one of my favorite athletes. Yeah, I learned so much from him.
Why Canelo? Technical skills?
Technical skills. I learned, like, we were watching his videos, his training footage, like everything. And we were trying to copy that, to repeat that. He inspired us a lot.
Yeah.
If I prepare for 6 months, like only boxing, I don't do anything about wrestling, about grappling, whatever. Only boxing, bro, put me whoever you want in front of me. Whoever. And I hear a lot of guys talking about, like, boxers. No, Ilia, he has a good boxing, but for MMA, but he has nothing to do with me in the boxing ring. I'm like, listen, you don't have anything to do with me outside, inside, whatever you want. Like, what you want to do. I know how good I am in boxing. I train every day boxing, every day. That's part of my life.
Canelo Alvarez praises Ilia Topuria for mimicking his style, showing the world his eyes are on Crawford and not the rising star.
Ilia started training in jiu-jitsu, and he became a jiu-jitsu master, but they don't have like a boxing coach or like any striking coach or kickboxing, anything like that. And him and his brother was studying Canelo Alvarez, and his brother was holding pads, like Canelo Alvarez coach, and they was ripping Canelo Alvarez the combinations and the thousands of times, and they teach to jiu-jitsu coach learn to how to hold the pads like Canelo Alvarez, like he was hitting.
Wow. Canelo Alvarez is preparing for what is expected to be one of the biggest boxing events in recent history, a showdown with Terrence Crawford. However, in a press conference leading up to this much-anticipated clash, Canelo was asked about another potential matchup, this time against Ilia Topuria. His response, though casual, caught the attention of many fans and pundits. Canelo, despite not being overly familiar with Topuria's full fight resume, expressed genuine admiration for him. The Mexican legend praised Topuria, stating that he loved, respected, and admired the fighter for incorporating aspects of Canelo's own fighting style into his own game. However, Canelo, ever the focused professional, made it clear that his eyes were firmly set on Crawford, as he emphasized the need to first address the task at hand before thinking of any future bouts.
Para mí es un honor que obviamente agarren un poco de mi boxeo. También mis respetos para todos, y lo de la pelea, bueno, ya veremos después.
But while Canelo's stance on a potential Topuria matchup might seem respectful, it's clear that the focus is on Crawford, and the stakes have never been higher. For many, Crawford represents a challenge that no other fighter has posed in recent years, primarily due to the Nebraska fighter's unmatched boxing IQ and versatility. Yet, opinions vary greatly about how this fight will unfold.
If Canelo couldn't knock out Charlo, or you really think that he's gonna knock out Crawford? I would pick Terrence Crawford to beat a Canelo Alvarez, even at 168. Everybody can call me crazy and whatever you want to say. I get it. Y'all didn't believe me when I told you about Spence, but trust me, Crawford will figure out a way. I know a secret y'all don't know, and I ain't gonna tell you why I would pick Terrence Crawford, but it's part of the secret, is the reason why I'm picking him to win the fight. So
Shane Mosley, the legendary former champion, weighed in on the fight, stating that Canelo's physical advantages would likely prove insurmountable for Crawford. Mosley pointed out that while Crawford is an exceptional boxer, he might be too small for a man of Canelo's size and power. Mosley also acknowledged Crawford's willingness to fight, but he believed that once the two fighters start exchanging blows, the weight and physicality of Canelo will likely overpower Crawford. He made an apt comparison to Amir Khan's experience when he moved up in weight to fight Canelo, ultimately suffering a devastating knockout. Mosley's point was clear. Crawford might be a great fighter at 140 and 147 pounds, but stepping up to 168 pounds might be a different beast entirely.
I think Canelo's too big for Crawford. I think Canelo's too big for Crawford. I think that the reason why, if Crawford was a mover like the rest of us, then maybe he can have a good chance with Canelo. But I think that being that Crawford is a fighter, that's gonna be dangerous. That's gonna be his problem. He's a fighter. He wants to fight. He's gonna move a little bit, but his heart is not in moving. So he's gonna have to sit there and fight with Canelo. If you sit there and fight with Canelo and he's that much bigger than you, then I don't know. But everybody think, Crawford, he's a great boxer, he's this, he's that, which he is. He's a great fighter. And I think he's a great fighter at 140, 47.
David Benavidez, the undefeated WBC World Light Heavyweight Champion, offered his take, providing an interesting contrast to Mosley's predictions, while he also agreed that Canelo's size and power would be difficult for Crawford to overcome. Benavidez acknowledged that Crawford has the skill set to pose serious problems for the Mexican. Benavidez, known for his own aggressive style, conceded that Crawford's technical brilliance and fight IQ were on another level, but questioned if those qualities would be enough against a fighter who is just so much bigger and stronger. Benavidez did not dismiss the possibility of Crawford pulling off an upset, but he added that he wouldn't be surprised if Canelo proved to be too much, regardless of how the fight played out. According to Benavidez, a fighter's resolve would be tested when up against someone like Canelo.
Terence Crawford, does he have an opportunity to beat Canelo?
I think if anybody has a chance to beat Canelo, I think it's Terence Crawford. His IQ is on another level. He's a great fighter and he's strong. It's just that it's a lot of weight. I wouldn't be surprised if Terence Crawford wins. Wouldn't be surprised if he loses either. Terence Crawford, when he went up against the best opposition, like Errol Spence, he showed what level he's on, what type of dog he is. So I don't know. You really have to let these fights play out to see what happens. He might get hurt. That might activate him to come back strong.
Could you still make 68?
I don't want to make 68.
No, I know you don't. Terence wins 68.
Yeah, well, if that's, yeah, I can make 168.
Oscar De La Hoya, the man who brought Canelo into the limelight with his Golden Boy promotions, had a clear view on how the fight might unfold. Despite their rocky relationship, De La Hoya remains one of the most experienced figures in the boxing world, and his opinion on the Canelo-Crawford matchup carries weight. De La Hoya sees Crawford as a technically gifted boxer, but he believes that Canelo's raw power and physical presence will be too much to overcome in the latter stages of the fight. In De La Hoya's eyes, the first half of the fight might see Crawford controlling the pace with his sharp boxing, but as the rounds go by, Canelo's relentless pressure will likely start to wear Crawford down. By the latter rounds, De La Hoya predicts that Canelo's power will be the deciding factor, potentially leading to a TKO or stoppage.
Let's take it back to last week when this photo was taken of Canelo and Crawford having dinner together. Like they're best friends. I love you, man. They're buddies, like they were family friends. I mean, can you imagine Muhammad Ali or like Joe Frazier having dinner together? What? Can you imagine Mike Tyson and Mitch Green before a brawl? Hey, wow. What the fuck? No boxing fan wants to see two fighters having dinner together.
We could have a dinner on Wednesday night.
We want bad blood. We want anticipation. We want to feel like an actual war is about to happen. Caviar and champagne together while they're staging their trilogy. Jesus Christ. Alright, so after their dinner date together, Canelo and Crawford said on the press tour that I think started in Riyadh, New York, and Vegas. So here's a clip.
I'm very excited for this fight. We'll see. We'll see.
That's late, right? Oh, and Canelo elaborated on his career plans.
Maybe you will see me in the WWE.
Okay, great, Canelo, but please first, before you fight The Undertaker, can you please fight David Benavidez? No. And here's the moment where the script told them to shove each other. I mean, come on. Anybody else not buying this drama?
Nobody got time for that.
Crawford, if you want to actually make Canelo mad, just tell the truth about him and his tainted meat.
Yet not everyone is so quick to dismiss Crawford's chances. Hamza Shiraz, a rising British middleweight, believes that the jump in weight could be too much for Crawford to handle. Shiraz, who knows firsthand the challenges of facing physically superior fighters, pointed out that while Crawford's skill and talent are undeniable, moving up to 168 pounds to fight a powerhouse like Canelo could be a recipe for disaster. Shiraz's concern is that despite Crawford's speed and ring IQ, the raw power of Canelo might be something he's simply not equipped to deal with.
My kind of perspective on that fight is, I feel like number one, there's a weight class for reasons, and I feel like if we're basing it off their last performances, Canelo had the better performance, I believe, even though he had a negative fight in front of him. And I feel like Crawford struggled a little bit with Madrimov's physicality. Yeah, it was very physical, and I feel like he struggled a little bit with it. And then you got to remember, Canelo's a big dude. He's a big dude. He's strong. He knows how to use his size. But then at the same time, at that level, you can't write off fighters like Crawford because he's so skillful. So him going up 2 weights, he could defy the odds because he's a generational great. But if I had to kind of put my money on it, I'd put my money on Canelo Alvarez to win via a stoppage.
In contrast, Michael Buffer, the legendary ring announcer, envisions the fight playing out as more of a chess match than a slugfest. According to Buffer, the technical prowess of both fighters will shine through, leading to a close, strategic battle. He believes that Crawford's exceptional boxing IQ and Canelo's own refined skills will dictate a tactical contest.
Michael, it's not a big fight unless you're announcing it. Canelo versus Crawford. How do you see that one going?
I think it's going to be a close and interesting fight.
Right.
I think it's going to be a technical fight, not a power fight.
Now, what do you think about Dana White promoting it? Do you think
he's only proven himself to be one of the greatest promoters in the history of sports?
So he's good.
Pretty good deal.
He's good for boxing.
Oh yeah, he'll know what to do.
Because some people like De La Hoya have been a little critical of him, but he has the Michael Buffer approval, obviously.
For sure.
You're the man. Thank you.
David Morrell, the rising Cuban talent who has become one of the most respected voices in boxing analysis, also chimed in on the debate. Morrell, though impressed with Crawford's abilities, suggested that Canelo's immense power and physicality would prove too much for anyone, including the skilled Crawford. Morrell admires Crawford's skills, but he doesn't believe that even a fighter of Crawford's caliber will be able to avoid the kind of damage that comes with facing a powerhouse like Canelo at 168 pounds. For Morrell, it's the raw power that sets Canelo apart from most of his opponents, and that's what will likely determine the outcome.
I say Crawford, but he's the crazy fight. It's too much fun for Crawford. I know he don't do it for the money, but it's too much. It's too much pound for Crawford, and Canelo is. It's not easy, Canelo is stronger. It's difficult. It's difficult for Crawford to win the fight or to stay there in the 12th round. So.
Kyrone Davis, a boxer who has shared training camps with both Canelo and Crawford, offered a more balanced perspective. Davis recognizes the size and experience gap between the two fighters at 168 pounds, but he also pointed out that Crawford's discipline and training could help him close that gap. Davis believes that Crawford's sharp boxing mind, combined with his ability to transform physically for the fight, might allow him to negate the advantage that Canelo holds in terms of size.
Have you been in there with Crawford?
Yeah.
So you've been in there with Crawford, you've been there with Canelo. What can you take from sparring both of them to gauge what's gonna happen in September?
Preparation is gonna definitely be everything. Crawford adjusting to the 168 pound division. I know he's been sitting at a heavier weight for a while, but he's been showing his training and stuff. So that's definitely gonna help him. Canelo experience. But then you got Crawford, got great experience as well. It's going to be a great fight. It's going to be a good chess match. I expect a great fight. If I had to favor somebody, I would just pick Canelo because of the weight disparity. Canelo is naturally sits really well at 168, and it's just always tough for a guy to come to 168 and come from that many weight classes up and do something like that. If he does it, if anybody could do it, it'll be Terence Crawford.
Jermall Charlo, a former Canelo opponent, provided some advice to Crawford based on his own experience with the Mexican icon. Charlo acknowledged the size difference, but emphasized that Crawford's true strength lies in his speed, agility, and boxing IQ, not necessarily in trying to match Canelo's power. Charlo cautioned Crawford against focusing too much on bulking up to match Canelo's size, suggesting instead that Crawford should stick to his strengths, his sharpness, precision, and movement. For Charlo, it's about outsmarting Canelo in the ring rather than trying to match him physically.
I like Crawford. All right, my brother fought Canelo, not me. I like Crawford in this fight, and he gets to stay big. But my brother even told me that was his mistake that he made. He thought going up in weight, I got to get massive, I got to get big to beat Canelo. It made him slower. It made his reflexes slower. He'll tell you himself. He didn't feel like the Jermell Charlo that y'all seen him fight Tony Harrison. Crawford, I feel like that's the same thing as happening. You want to get big to try to absorb Canelo punches and all this, but that's not, technically, that's not the Crawford that we're going to see. And then Crawford going up there to fight Canelo at 68, when he's not a 68 pounder, where's the motivation? Y'all got to think about it like
big
that.
for Crawford.
The money is good, but we don't expect. I don't expect Terence Crawford to be the Terence Crawford that was knocking out Gamboa, doing all. I don't expect that type of Terence Crawford.
Caleb Plant, another former opponent of Canelo, offered a more psychological take on the fight. Plant believes that mental toughness will ultimately be the key to victory. Both fighters have been in high-pressure situations before, and Plant believes that the fighter who can maintain their composure and focus in the heat of battle will come out on top. He predicted a razor-close fight where the mental fortitude of one fighter will be the deciding factor in the final rounds.
Terence is not a regular guy. You know what I'm saying? He's special. And, you know, Canelo, he's a top-notch fighter, world-class fighter. Still on the pound-for-pound list, I'm sure towards somewhere near the top. And it's exciting. You know, Terence is freakishly strong. He can punch. He's got good crack. He can fight from both ways. Orthodox, southpaw. He can fight at mid-range, close range, outside. And he can fight going both ways. So it's exciting. It's exciting. It's a big question mark on the end of it, though. So that's why, you know, I'm sure all of us are excited for that bell to ring and, you know, be able to find out firsthand.
Jose Benavidez Sr., father of David Benavidez, wasn't optimistic about the possibility of a knockout or fireworks in this fight. He expected Crawford to take a cautious defensive approach, similar to what Canelo faced against fighters like Jermell Charlo. Benavidez Sr. predicted that Crawford would prioritize defense and avoid taking unnecessary risks. This, in his view, would likely lead to a long tactical battle where the fighters would exchange punches sparingly, focusing more on strategy than aggression.
Crawford's a little guy, you know. He's coming up 2 divisions to fight Canelo Alvarez, and you think he's gonna go toe-to-toe with Canelo? Come on, man. You know, Terence Crawford's a great fighter, really good fighter, but that's too much weight for him. So he's gonna try to survive and move around and try to win the round. That's what's gonna happen. I think Canelo at the stage right now, his legs are not the same. You know, the body's not responding the same. So I think he's gonna have problems trying to catch Terence Crawford, to be honest with you. And I think it's gonna be the same fight. You know, I think it's gonna be a boring fight. It's gonna. I'm hoping that, you know, it's a little bit exciting because I heard that Canelo was the worst fight ever on pay-per-view to throw the less punches in history. So we're hoping to see a great fight, a good fight, but that matchup is not a matchup to be exciting.
Lastly, Zab Judah, the former champion, took an even more optimistic view on Crawford's chances. Judah, impressed by Crawford's dedication and focus, suggested that Crawford's adaptability in the ring could be the difference maker. Judah even went as far as to predict that Crawford could potentially stop Canelo before the final bell. He pointed to Crawford's exceptional boxing IQ as his greatest asset, believing that his ability to adjust and execute complex strategies would give him the edge, especially if the fight turned into a technical contest.
Badass. Okay, what about Canelo and Crawford?
Crawford. No hesitation. No hesitation.
I want to see that fight.
Big Bud. Big Bud. We're going to have to roll Canelo up. We're going to have to pack him up, baby.
But how hard is the jump from 47 to 68?
I mean, listen, it's a very big challenge. But what I said, with his skills and the way he's adapted to the size, brother, when I seen them stand toe-to-toe and side by side, I said, game over. Terence Crawford. And listen, don't be surprised if he stops him. I'm telling you.
Who?
Don't be surprised
if Canelo stops Crawford.
Terence Bud Crawford stops Canelo.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I love you. Skills pay the bills. See that, Cody? Skills pay the bills.
As we head toward this colossal clash, it's clear that opinions are divided on who will come out on top. While Canelo's size and power make him a formidable favorite, Crawford's intelligence, skill, and adaptability ensure that the fight will be anything but a foregone conclusion. Whether it's Canelo's overwhelming physicality, Crawford's unparalleled boxing IQ, or the mental fortitude of both men, this is a matchup that promises to deliver fireworks inside the ring. Only time will tell who will emerge victorious in this epic showdown.